are live at the 2017 Canadian Lawn Bowling Championships. I'm Daryl Fitzgerald. We gave Jake the afternoon off, so don't give me a lot of grief if we screw some stuff up, because Jake is really, really good at it. We are covering the match between BCA and Nova Scotia. This is the first of two tie-breaking games for the bronze medal match in the women's fours. The winner of this will move on to the bronze medal game. The loser will then play against Alberta B for the second spot in the bronze medal game. As the Nova Scotia fours is Debbie Foster, Tammy Foster-Vigneault, Lorraine Bezanson, and Jackie Foster. And the BCA team is comprised of Mary Wright, Ann Matthey, Belle Chan, and Anne Van Bastelaere. Joining me today is our illustrious BCB president, David Callum. David, how are you doing?
Oh, doing good. Glad to be back here. Looking forward to some really meaningful games. I think our first game is a half game in the women's fours, so they'll play 8 ends. Always a challenging format to make sure you don't have a slow start. Make sure you pressure all the way.
Yeah, these tie-breaking games are shorter because there are 3 teams involved. If there are 2 teams, it would be an actual full match played to break the tie. But because there are 3 teams involved in this, they will be playing 2 half games, and the winners of each match will then move on to the bronze medal. And as David said, with these short matches, you want to get a good early run, good early lead, because there's not much time to catch up if you do get behind.
I joined the game here halfway through the first end. The teams are just changing ends, and Matthew's just going down to the mat to deliver her first ball out of ice.
It was a fantastic bowl here. Currently looks like BC could be holding 5 shots. All of Nova Scotia's bowls have carried to the back. The BC team is currently looking at the gold decals, I believe, and Nova Scotia will be having the light blue. If you can see that on your view. Currently have Jackie Foster heading onto the mat to throw her bowl. We did try to move the cameras for this fours game to the side. We know earlier when we were watching fours games, it was very, very difficult to see the head when you have 6 players standing there blocking every angle. Hopefully you can see a better view of the games as we show them today. And Matthew just throwing one into the back, as BC didn't currently have one in the back, just for a protection measure, I'm sure. Jackie rolling one in there, probably cutting BC out of a couple shots. That's an excellent shot for Nova Scotia. And we'll see what the skips can do. Tammy for Nova Scotia and Mary for BC. Mary just come about a foot and a half short of the jack.
Possibly adding to the count. Tammy certainly got a key result needed from this ball. And she's got it.
She's probably just drawn shot there.
Yes.
Excellent shot from Tammy. This Nova Scotia team is comprised of 3 family members. Jackie and Tammy are sisters. And we've got their mother, who currently plays lead for them, I believe.
Yeah, Debbie is the lead.
Definitely a good bowling family from Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Make it all the way to the Canadians and have a shot to get into the bronze medal.
See 1 point.
One shot for Nova Scotia.
One shot for Nova Scotia.
One end played. Nova Scotia up 1-0. Only played one end now, right? Lorraine Bazanson. Trail and sit with the jack. If you do want to get in touch with us, you can always get in touch with us on Twitter at BC Bulls and on Facebook at BC Bulls Official. We'll be happy to hear from you. Try to answer all your questions. Talk about anything that you like. Keep the stream as interesting as possible while you're watching bowls. We always know that John Siteman is watching. Gave us a little shout out to see fellow Nova Scotia team battling it out, not live on stream. So he's wishing us a good practice, a good broadcast. Thank you, John. We'll do our best. Deep back bowl. Just in front of the ditch. As you probably can see on your screens, the very, very top, there's a lot of the competitors from this week just lined up watching these matches to see who possibly they get to play in a medal final, or just to see who actually rises to the top and makes it in for tomorrow's matches. It's great to see all these people out still watching the games, even though it's a little cool and a little windy. Chasing the ball. Thinks it's close.
Davy's second ball, yes, looks...
just coming up short.
Right. Looked good from here, but
it did.
From the TV picture, we can see it's just a little shorter than we thought.
Quite a short ball there. Definitely a little oops. Now we've got Jackie Foster coming down. Play for Nova Scotia. So David, out of all the shots that we've seen played during this week, games won and lost, do you have any specific highlights from the week that you really enjoyed?
I have to be maybe a little partisan, being a Saskatchewan Polar myself, but
right.
Yesterday in the men's triples, in a critical situation, Alex Scott scored what I might say, what referred to it later as Plan F. Nobody on the green or off it had seen this possibility, but he came in heavy and got a wick and cleared the jack right into the ditch and fell with his toucher right on it, and that brought them into a real winning situation. And then in the following that, in the next end, looking at quite an ugly head and looking at elimination, Alex made probably one of the most cleanest, most beautiful draw and trails to lock the jack up and hold the winning shot. And so I think that was a good impression, a good example of the sometimes it's blind luck, and sometimes it's just pure finesse. And 2 ends in a row. Well done, Alex. They are now cleared to play tomorrow.
That's right. That game, winning that game, helped keep them in the running and in the standings, and a couple of wins later, and I know a win earlier today locked them into a gold medal match against Ontario, which will be exciting to watch tomorrow.
But generally, overall, Darryl, I've been impressed here that there's no weak teams. There's many very good teams. And, I think the consistency of the balls and the sometimes difficult conditions, the teams that can keep it together under adversity, that's maybe the main difference. All these are the true champions.
Now a quick discussion at this head. It's looking a little crowded out in front. See what Tammy can do. I'd have to agree with you. The caliber of bowling here has been exceptional. Some great shots made, some tight games won and lost by all the teams, and I have to say some of the greens are not always that easy to play. Some can be very, very tricky, and it's the smart teams and the teams that can keep their patience and work with it that can definitely triumph in the end. And it's been great to see some just incredible bowls being played. I was lucky enough to see Tammy Foster-Vigneault, the skip that's currently on the mat, out in Nova Scotia at the under 25s and under 18 championships. She's a proud coach of Braden Campbell, one of the top juniors in the field there in both the under 18 and under 25 competitions. So she's done a great job in coaching that young player, as well as many young players in Nova Scotia. John had just a quick question because he didn't hear it at the beginning. He was assuming that this is a mini tiebreaker. It will be 9 ends because a full game of 4s is 18 ends. So we'll have a 9-end tiebreaker here. And immediately following this, the winner will move on and the loser will then play Alberta B in another 9-end tiebreaker to fill up the bronze medal match for the ladies 4s. You might be able to see right next door, we've got the Quebec team, men's 4s, and the BCA team, skipped by David James Smith and Christy Graham. They are currently playing to see who will fill the final spot in the men's 4s bronze medal match. They will be playing a full game right to completion to see who actually makes it through. Just coming up short on that ball. Mary Wright is going up to have a quick chat with Ann Massey to see what she can do with this head. So I can give you a quick breakdown of what's going on. The men's pairs has already come to completion. The gold medal matches have kind of shaken themselves out. There's no tiebreakers. The men's triples, there is a 3-way tie for bronze, so it's Alberta A versus Nova Scotia A, and the loser will then play Ontario A to see who fills out that entire bronze medal match. In the men's 4s, obviously I just mentioned that it's Quebec versus BCA. They're currently tied for 4th, and it'll be the winner of this match that goes into the bronze medal match. On the women's side, again, the women's pairs is complete, so their medal matches have already been set. In the women's triples, there is a tie for 4th, Ontario A versus Quebec, to see who goes on to the bronze medal match. And then women's 4s, which we are currently watching, which has the 3-way tie.
Yeah, unfortunately, those matches that Daryl just listed off there, that from our commentary position, it's very hard, if not impossible, to actually see the scoreboards on the other rink. So as those games get a little bit more towards their conclusions and as excitement builds a little, we'll try and find a runner or somebody who can scoot up there and bring us back a few scores.
That's right. I know some provinces want to know who from their group is actually making it in. It can be quite tense to actually see some bowls being played on your screen at the very top and just not know what the score is. So that was a 1 for BCA. Two ends played. And just tapping on the front bowl. You can see at the top of your, or at the far left of your screen. See the nice bowl. It's about 2 feet behind the jack. BC currently holding 1. Nova Scotia trailed the jack back, but right to one of BC's back bowls. Coming with a little bit of weight. That's a deep one right near the tee at the back. Probably a little more aggressive than Mary wanted, but. Fantastic ball.
It picked up her own earlier ball and moved it back to jack high, but I suspect that the blue ball, BC's, is still shot. But, good result.
Yeah, it gives Nova Scotia a lot of options to just push a little bit into that. If they can flop that dark blue bowl over, possibly get shot out of it. If they can move the jack a little bit, possibly get 1 or 2. There's a Nova Scotia bowl just off to the side. I'm sure Ann Matthew has different thoughts.
Oh, an Ann puts one there.
Yeah, beautiful
Right,
shot.
jack high.
I think Jackie was just looking for a little bit of weight to push that purple ball and move the blue ball out. And if she actually got the jack and threw it way back, there is a lonely Nova Scotia ball back there waiting to catch it. And with another great weighted shot.
Oh, yes.
Just touching it through.
That's, so I think we see now playing 3 shots, you say, Darryl?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. A nice toucher right next to it. I have a feeling Jackie will play weight again.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a pocket there, and if she can hit that, they don't have the extreme back ball, but they have a well-positioned ball just behind the head, and she's close. Yes.
What a shot!
What a shot! Yes. Replaces Anne's shot and Lay's shot herself.
Jackie Foster is part of our high performance team. Makes up one of the 7 spots in our ladies senior squad. She's been there for a while, a staple. I know one of the most cheerful and energetic of our crew. You definitely, if you ever get a chance to meet her, I suggest talking to her because she's a great person to talk to and loves meeting new people. Just sliding by.
And I may have spoken a little hastily at some checking as to who actually does have shot.
Yeah, it's very, very close. I know Jackie's ball did fall backwards, so
from the indication that Tammy's Jackie was suggesting that Tammy come on the forehand, and there, that really does make me question whether I was right in my first conclusion.
just crashing on a short ball. Mary's going to come up and take a look. Having a quick discussion of what possible shots they can play to possibly get shot if they are down, or make the head better.
Slightly weighted shot. Williams playing down on the same forehand side.
They're looking at it,
but it looks like it. Oh, and she
and they
just
got it.
Stroked the jack, and it moved backwards a few inches, if not a fraction of an inch. And it's now clearly against the red BC ball.
Yeah, it's not often you see a forward-moving jack. Usually, with the ball traveling in that direction, it would follow it, but.
Yeah, I think it just ricocheted back, tapped back off the Nova Scotia ball to sit there. So Tammy's now going to try an interesting challenge and see what happens. Just cut inside. Missed the target.
One for BC.
One for BC. 3 ends played and 3 points scored, and goes to bear out what Daryl I was saying, that you got to better make sure you're up there with your opponent when you only got 6 more ends to go.
That's right.
The spread of 1 is about as close as you can have it after 3 ends.
And both teams trading shots. All of them were holding shot at one point during that end. Both leads kind of knocking this jack around a little bit. Just coming up short with that ball. This is Bell. Looking to draw one close. Well, she got hold of one of BC's front balls. Just rocking it back and forth.
Oh. Splits between the two black front balls and shot drawn.
Sometimes those really close front balls can become useful. Help straighten out your ball right onto the jack. Bell playing a little extra weight from her last one.
She's made it through the
right on.
She's nicely positioned behind, but
good ball for BC.
Good ball. And it is actually a toucher.
As you can see, we're getting quite a mix of weather here. A little overcast, a little sunny, and the wind keeps changing, blowing really, really heavy and really light, so it is getting a little tricky on those greens. That's just a quick discussion on angles. If the ball happens to crash onto anything, what can happen? Unfortunately, she's just going to plug that hole in front.
Quite a wall, wouldn't you say now?
Yeah.
Building up in front, and Mary and Annie having a real ponder as to whether to go around it or try and push through it or push something forward. So
Yeah, it's a question of what side do you play and what weight do you play, just in case you hit one of theirs or one of yours, because there is a mix of bowls out in front. It's a little different if it's all one team.
We'll now see the results of the conversation and see what she's chosen to do. There comes, it's a little bit of force there, and she
Caught the right ball.
got the right ball and moved the shot ball, moved the jack, and things are a little bit more open on the forehand side now.
You'll notice that Nova Scotia is definitely has a lot of team spirit, constantly giving hugs and high fives and cheering bowls on, and that's a huge part of their game and gives them motivation, and can definitely keep players in the game when you're constantly feeding energy. I know that Jackie has a big influence on that. She's definitely one that likes to cheer on good bowls and cheer on her teammates. Just coming up wide and short.
Maybe a little wider line on grass that's probably not being played
Yeah.
as much. And it's pretty green out there, wouldn't you say, Daryl? Some of the rinks we've seen have some quite fast brown patches. This one looks to be pretty green and pretty even.
Yeah, right down the center.
Must be a pleasure to play on.
Yeah, absolutely. It can get tricky when you have brown and green because it picks up different speeds depending on what patch you hit. So wherever the jack is a whole new adventure. I don't think Anne's taking any speed off of her ball.
Probably, well, so behind a little bit.
Mary already knows what she wants to do. I apologize for any crackling or wind. It is quite windy at times here. It feels like we're in a wind tunnel sitting down here in the booth. That was a BC ball, but didn't push it quite hard enough to do too much to that head. I believe Nova Scotia is still sitting one behind. Alright. Tammy making an excellent promotion shot to currently sit 2 in the head. Mary making a similar shot, but her ball just shooting to the left, not quite into the head. Jackie just wanting Tammy to draw a nice third shot in there, make it really tough for Mary. Okay. 2 for Nova Scotia.
Nothing happening.
Just having a little technical difficulty updating the end, but I was able to update the score, so we're currently sitting at 3-2. It's end 4 was played.
Yes.
See if I can get that updated for you. There we go.
So just if you think, Darrell referred to sitting in the booth and so on, you just think we might be sitting in a air-conditioned, blasted, soundproof network television standard booth. No, we're at a table with Darrell's working 2 different computer screens, 3 different keyboards, and the sun's shining from behind us, so what he's seeing on the screen is almost impossible to see. So I think he just lost track of the mouse.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just there, and we normally would have an umbrella behind us to shade us, to keep the sun from glaring out on the screens, but with the gusty winds they've taken all our umbrellas away, so we're
That's right.
sitting in the sun and enjoying a beautiful breezy day, but it certainly interferes with some of the technology. Anyway, all is well now.
So unfortunately, we are playing quite a short end, so you can't catch the front bowls on screen. So we'll try to update you as we go. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole bunch of camera operators working for us to do this, but currently BC is sitting 2 really tight shots, as you can see on your screen. One's right on top of the jack on the right side, and the other one is jack high on the other.
Darrell's just left the palatial booth. Just climb up the tower immediately behind us. And, see if you can just bring a little bit more of the head into view. There he goes. And, much better. Yeah. We can now see the head as it lays before us. Jackie Foster's ball just slipping by the shot ball, coming to rest about 18 inches behind the jack. So British Columbia still lay 2, and Mathis is going down to the mat and will be delivering her first vice ball. And the ball gently into the head, and the lays second shot. So BC laying 3. Not much hesitation from Jackie. She's knows what she's going to do, and she will not be short. Nicely paced ball coming down. Takes out one of the BC shots. Now it's BC laying 2. So Darryl's back in the booth. We've got some better camera angles for you. It's up to the player's choice, but if Darryl had his choice, he'd ask them not to play the next end to the tee.
Adjusted the one camera. The other camera had a little bit of a wind issue and fell over a little bit, so I had to go out and readjust it. I think we're looking okay now. So we weren't lying when we said it was a little bit windy out here. Yeah, Steve St. Pierre messaging us on Facebook saying I'm not just another pretty face, I'm actually handy on the scaffold. Was trying to climb around some people that were kind of standing near the scaffolding, so it was good to clear them out and say I needed to adjust that camera, give everybody at home a better view. So now we can actually see everybody on the other side as well. Tammy just sliding through the head. Oh.
Uh-oh, what's happening here?
Mary Wright crashing into one of Nova Scotia's short bowls. And I believe she has just cut herself down to 1. That's a really unfortunate miss by Mary.
I think it also sets up a situation where if Tammy can make some fairly firm contact with the ball that just came in, we can see quite a bit of jack action here.
Oh.
But again, slides almost identical path to her previous ball, and I'm sure Mary's sighed with relief at that one.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult for Mary to get another shot out of this. She can possibly play the other side to push that black ball out, but I don't think she necessarily wants to move the jack either. Calling out Ann Matthew just to get a second opinion before she makes her final call. Yeah, 4 ends played.
Yeah. This is where it's tricky that if we now got playing the 5th, got 4 more ends to go. If this was the 5th end of a normal game, I think Mary would be looking at some probably more aggressive options. But here with she is laying 1 and be pretty well tied up again if she makes this. That's right, isn't it? Yes, she has to be thinking really about the consequences of his mistake as much as the consequences of an aggressive action.
Yeah, sliding by.
Sliding by. So
1 BC? Yep, 1 BC.
BC. Oh.
3-3. 5 ends played. Got some of the wonderful volunteers here at the Wanda Fuka Lawn Bowling Club, going around offering spectators slices of watermelon and other goodies. Really making it a welcoming environment for everybody sitting here watching a great couple games of bowls.
It's very tempting on a hot, quite a dry day, but I'm pretty sure you watching on the stream would not like to be treated to Daryl and I consuming watermelon.
Yeah, that might not be as appealing as it sounds to us.
Should have asked them to save a couple for later.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe in the break. I must say the hospitality, I think I remarked on it before, earlier in the week, that again, lots of very helpful volunteers, lots of thoughtful provision. There's a nice little players feeding tent with goodies of all kinds. Somebody brought down some world famous bread and butter pudding.
Oh wow!
Which was all gone before I got there.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it.
Cookies, there's fruit, there's all kinds of hot and cold drinks, all just there to ward off the hunger pangs that usually come on at about 2/3 of the way through a game when you're intensely playing. And facilities for visitors and guests, plenty come down to watch. All just first class. Big thank you to all the hosting committee and the hosting committee teams.
That's very, very well said. It's been a fantastic week of bowls, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow when the medal games are being played. If you haven't made it down already and possibly can't make it down to catch the end of these games, definitely make sure you come down tomorrow, because we'll be playing for all the medals on these greens, and the top teams will be vying for that sought-after gold medal in Canadian Championship. Excellent bowl.
Yes. The bell came in for shot.
Serious wind picking up.
We notice that it's really swirling around in here. The flags are pointing out towards the green at the moment, and a few seconds ago they were blowing back towards the hill behind us, so it's a swirling wind. Maybe it's not affecting the players quite so much this way as if it was all one direction and a steady gusting wind. It seems to be. Seems not to be affecting the play too much.
Mm-hmm. These ladies are definitely still able to make their shots, get really close bowls. Jackie definitely not liking how the wind is picking up. Taking another step to refocus and possibly see if the wind will change at all, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, maybe they are, or players are a little more unsettled by the wind than we thought, because if we look at the spread of the head, it's probably the most spread out head we've seen in this game anyway, and
Yes.
not typical of the consistency that we expect and we've seen from these players.
You're absolutely right.
So
And just going through the gap between Jack and bowls. Jackie drew second shot with her last ball, so she's probably looking to better that and try to snag shot itself.
she comes up against her own ball and falls in. Maybe shot, maybe, we can't tell.
Two very consistent shots from Jackie Foster. I know she works diligently on her caterpillar drill, which is where you throw your first ball out and try to draw all three remaining balls on top of that initial ball. So that consistency paying off in that end. Alright, just coming up short there. Looks like a pretty good line coming in. Sammy just crashing on the front short bull, putting a little bit more stuff in front. And indicating come down the forehand draw.
Maybe a little firmly with a bit of pressure into.
Just slipping through. One for BC. After 6, we got 4-3 for BCA. Really, really tight game going on here. We've got David Callum has just left the booth to go try to collect some scores, so we can try to give you an update on what's going on in the other games that you can see on your screen. While he's doing that, you're stuck with me. But I'll just remind you that you can still get a hold of us and chat with me here in the booth at BCB Bowls on Twitter, at BCB Bowls Official on Facebook. You can also get me on Twitter personally at Canadian Bowler. Send us your messages, questions, comments, and I'll be happy to chat with you and answer any questions that I can. Make this as interactive as possible. We just want to hear from you and know that you're out there watching the stream. I want to see who from far and wide in Canada and beyond are actually watching our game and enjoying this production of Bowls Canada. Lorraine Bazanzin lining up her shot. Trying to draw a nice close one here. Get Nova Scotia off on the right foot. 3 to 4 feet through the head. Belchan drawing a beautiful bowl up here for BC. Jack high. Interesting watching around here with all the gusts of wind happening, hats flying, towels flying. Yet 2 brilliant bowls from Belchan. pressing for some shots, feeling a little pressure. There's only a few ends left, and they want to make sure that they keep the score close, keep themselves in this tiebreaker. Whoever wins this one, it's a nice sigh of relief. You know you're through. For the one that loses this match, you still got another half a game to go to try to get yourself into that bronze medal match. David has returned.
So,
hopefully he's got some good news for some people out there.
I hope so. Some scores here.
Brilliant ball from Jackie Foster there.
Okay, Alberta men playing Nova Scotia. Alberta 2, Nova Scotia 10. Now that game, Daryl, is first part of a multi-way tiebreak, right?
Yeah, it's the same situation as the game we're playing. So
the winner here stays around to play
bronze tomorrow,
and
the loser has to go to play Ontario A to see who
they play again,
who gets through
in the second one. On the women's game, Quebec against Ontario.
That's a straight out tie.
They played 7 ends. Quebec 7, Ontario 12. And the other men's game, which again I think is
that's the
full game.
Full game. See who gets into the bronze.
In the bronze game at the moment, Quebec has 2 after 7 ends, and British Columbia has 6.
All right.
We'll try and collect up some more in the break when the short games change over. We'll try and get another update then.
We got
Sarah isn't live tweeting scores,
just got a notification on Facebook. Sandra Hansen Heckenschmidt, hopefully I got that name right. She's proudly watching from Bridgetown, Nova Scotia. I'm assuming she's cheering on Nova Scotia. Gonna have a quick team powwow here. Jackie's got one ball toucher leaning on the green there. Probably doesn't want to make it just a lonely shot there. Just had a request to repeat one of the scores. The Quebec-Ontario women's score is 7 for Quebec, 12 for Ontario, and they're in N9.
But 7.
Oh, sorry, Quebec 7, Ontario 12, and they're in N7.
N7, yeah.
All right.
7-12.
break from Tammy, just sliding inside of the shot ball. Mary looking for a conversion shot here. Probably push Jackie out or trail the Jack. Just going to slide on the outside.
Slides wide.
Tammy's going to try to make this a two-pointer. In the women's triples game, Ontario is winning 12-7. Uh-oh.
Looks like something might have gone a little awry there. Tammy's picked up the mat, so the end's over. And let's see.
Taking a really good look at this one. Sandra from Bridgetown is saying she belongs to the Bridgetown Lawn Bowling Club, and it's the home club of Tammy and Debbie. So she says, "Go ladies."
Little discussion on it is BC had called for the umpire. We'll see.
Umpire getting some work. The umpires have been fantastic. They've been all over the greens. They got their tent right in the middle of the four greens, A, B, C, and D, so they can scoot out and do their measures and take care of whatever the players need. So they've done a fantastic job here today and all week.
And it is a new Nova Scotia ball.
Nova Scotia won.
Did retain shot, even though there's a little bit of movement in there. They'll breathe again. On to the seventh end.
Really long jack thrown from Nova Scotia.
It might be a little early to speculate, Darryl, but if it goes this way it's been going and each team scores 1 point, we'll end up with 9 ends played and a tie at 5-5. That's just speculating, but should that happen, teams would end toss a coin and play one extra end to determine the winner of the game. What was a long jack is an even longer jack now with ball in scoring position, but plenty of room to get in there.
Just not making it down there.
You see that again with that wide line and the wider ball and coming up short and actually wide out of bounds.
Another excellent ball here. She's gonna tuck in behind, right on the ditch.
That Debbie Foster's ball follows the last ball down, so there's two balls in good covering protection. At the back, still plenty of room on the backhand side to bring the ball closer to the jack.
More stuff. Got a little shorten in the way. Same ball she just threw. Hopefully she can just sneak in there for the jack. Really close to trailing that jack.
Very close to a trail. Always been impressed with Debbie Foster's consistency. She's been playing this game and loving this game for a long time, and always had tremendous consistency. Here's a very good ball.
Yeah. Trail for the touch towards the ditch. Makes for a very difficult conversion for Jackie here. Just not quite enough weight to make the shot that she wanted. Probably wanted to add another 4 or 5 feet. And Matthew just coming up a little short. one of the games is concluded at the far end of the rink. Alberta, it's a men's triples, Alberta and Nova Scotia.
We can't see the scoreboards there, but you recall that the end of sixth end, that was Alberta 2, Nova Scotia 10. So we're, I think, fairly safe in assuming that that is a Nova Scotia win.
Yeah.
But all is not lost for Alberta. But right, Nova Scotia is now through to the bronze. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. And Alberta will
We'll play Ontario A.
Yeah. Ontario A, and another 8 ends in this case. Is it 9 ends?
It'll be another
9 ends. It's a triples team, yeah.
No, for triples, yeah, you're right. It'll be another 8 ends. That's why they ended a little sooner than this game.
Yeah.
Tammy just didn't get enough behind that ball.
I think there must be something rather deceptive there about the pace of the green and the appearance, because several balls have come in on that same slightly narrow, short path. Nothing short on error about this ball coming in.
No.
BC Barry, and it holds on the green, pretty well on the ditch.
Just coming up short. Unfortunately, in these critical situations, you want to make sure you give your ball a chance, which means just getting it down to and equal to the jack.
Mary again. Strongly delivered.
Just not going to make it.
Sliding.
Oh, maybe she did.
Okay. Yeah, she's
2 and a look for 3.
good luck. Yes. Jackie's got the measure out, and she and Annie are determining if indeed it is 2 or if it is 3. Back again they go, so it's close.
Yeah, double check.
It's
2 for BC. Alright, 6-4 and 8 played. Crucial last in for Nova Scotia. Jansen with an exceptional opening bowl. Another good bowl from Lorraine.
So even better.
Yeah.
2 exceptional bowls there.
I coached that girl, man.
Steve Bezanson saying that he coaches his wife and showed her exactly where to place those 2 bowls. Leave it to Steve. He's never one to shy away from taking credit.
And then,
what a great bowl.
That's from Bell. Just cleanly took the jack off, and she's there in the ditch with a toucher. About 2 feet maybe from the jack. So here, see if we get that camera angle just a little bit better for you, so that you can see the drama. Here we have Debbie Foster's first ball comes down, but ends up probably 7, maybe 8 feet. It rubbed off another ball and ends up 7 or 8 feet out from the ditch, the shot.
Another little working of the camera. Make sure we can actually see what's going on.
It's a little more weighted shot from David Foster, Nova Scotia, but this time carries through.
Yeah, just trying to make that adjustment to get close to the ditch, but obviously getting close to the ditch can mean you roll into the ditch.
In this situation, I think Nova Scotia definitely has second shot and possibly third shot, so the pressure is on BC to women to be able to bring a ball to rest within the rink and on the green, closer to the ditch than, well, probably within 2 feet, and there does seem to be a fast drop off in the last couple of feet, so it's by no means an easy task to outdraw the Nova Scotia second shot. And
Right, and Matthew just bumping one of their show poles up.
yeah.
Jackie getting her high fives before she goes down.
Well, there's nothing easy about the shot that Jackie has to play. It's the pressure is not pressure that BC are facing. Jackie can wave that off. She can just get another ball on the green ahead of the jack, and the game is still to be decided, but with each shot, the pressure mounts of BC and the relaxation and fun begins for Nova Scotia. And yes, another ball coming to rest well short.
Yeah. Mary just indicating to Anne to play down the backhand because it's all BC on that side. If she bumps something, then there's no harm done. Oh, Anne's chasing it down. You can see her flying down your screen.
The ball comes to rest.
Nice bump there.
And may have. And if that ball is indeed second shot, everything I just said goes out of the window. And the pressure's here on Debbie.
Problem with trying to be perfect on that ditch line without dropping in sometimes means that you end up coming short because you're just trying to make sure it's there but not too far. And then in your head you just end up throwing short, trying to be too delicate.
Yeah, the wall's beginning to build up on that side, and this side, the forehand side, it's largely Nova Scotia wall. And, at some point they may consider a push follow or some other combination shot rather than delicacy of the draw to the ditch, just to overcome that psychological barrier that Darryl talked about.
Yeah.
And another attempt there, but
now BC will just keep pushing stuff in the way and pushing stuff up. There's no issue with them. Tammy's got 2 critical shots coming up here to try to convert this end if she can.
definitely not light with this one, so I think she was doing exactly that. She's trying to... Oh. So raises a Nova Scotia ball into the ditch, but the situation remains essentially unchanged on the green.
Yeah. Just hoping for a little better result. Possibly crashing into a couple balls to knock it up.
More interference there from BC ball, and close to the line and about 7 feet out.
Oh, and that will be the game for BCA. They'll move on to the bronze medal match. And now Nova Scotia will face off against Alberta B to see if they can punch their ticket to get into the bronze medal match as well. So what we will do is I'll try to readjust some of these cameras so we can catch a little action on the Quebec BC game. And what we'll do is see if we can catch some more of that. If not, we'll quickly shut down, reset for the next games coming up. But we'll let you know shortly if we're successful in moving these cameras around so you can catch a little bit extra, okay? We'll be right back.
I'll be back in a moment. has a surprise for me today, so I figure I better get that one done.
Alright everybody, I won't be able to update the score regularly because I can't see that far from where we are, but I can tell you that the score after 11 ends right now is BC 20, Quebec 2. So it's quite an uphill climb for Quebec to get back in this game, but what we'll do is we'll watch this game unfold and I will try my best to keep the score as updated as possible. Let David Callum go. Doing this day in, day out can be quite arduous, so all we'll do here is we'll change the scores to reflect BCA and Quebec. And I will see if we can keep the score updated. It is difficult to see in the sun and what's going on in the head, but we will do our best. It's really windy though. Maybe.
I'll get those men's, or those the two games.
We have 2 games left going on, and another one that might be starting up shortly. As we told you before, in the men's triples game that was on rank 6, Nova Scotia beat Alberta to move into the middle round, and now it'll be Ontario A versus Alberta A on rank 3. You'll probably see them going just in front of you. And then we will see where the women's game will be played that just ended, because now on the women's side, Nova Scotia will play Alberta B to see who else punches their ticket into that bronze medal match. I do hope you've been enjoying all the streaming that we've been doing through the week. It is not the easiest to do with 1, 2, maybe 3 people working all the equipment and setting up cameras and trying to do the commentary and all the technical bits, but we do our best, try to make it entertaining, try to make it interesting. So as always, keep in contact with us at BCB Bowls on Twitter, at Canadian Bowler if you want to get in contact with myself on Twitter, at BCB Bowls Official, on Facebook. Send us messages, send us your thoughts, comments, questions, and we will do our best to answer and address them on air. what we'll do is we'll quickly update you. The one game going on right now, which we're kind of trying to watch, is BCA versus Quebec, and currently BC is up 20-2 after 12 ends. And the women's game, Quebec versus Ontario. Quebec is 10, Ontario 14 after 11 ends played. We just got a question from Steve St. Pierre. Has the respot rule come into effect much this week? Actually, the respot rule doesn't come into effect until 2018. So currently we are playing with the rules that you can still kill an end. And we have seen a few ends killed when some teams need it, or perhaps by accident, by running through the head. So, respot rule hasn't come into play yet, but we will see how it plays out in next year's Canadian Championships in Regina. I'm just going to leave it on this angle for now. It's kind of difficult to flip back and forth when we've got all these players moving around. We will do our best to keep you updated on what's going on, but this is just a little bonus coverage until we get a game that's closer to us that we can commentate on. It's ready to go.
Well, based off that scoreboard, I guess that was quite the game for BCA versus Quebec, eh? 20-2. So, after all of these tiebreaker matches are done today, we'll be back again tomorrow, 9 a.m. for the men's medal matches, 10 a.m. for the women's. How did the first round of tiebreakers go, David?
So you caught me with just with my pen in one hand, and we had a very exciting tense match, our feature match. Just you recognise the voice has changed. Jake Shukenek's back. He's been taking it just I think it's your first break from commentating the whole week. So
you guys finally got a break from my ugly voice on the stream. You could hear someone else for once.
Daryl stood in there, and now I think Jake, you're back for the rest of the.
No, just for a couple minutes here until Daryl needs a.
He needs a break.
Quick second break here.
So yeah, it's just one shot per end for the first 7 ends, and then 8th end BC scored and held that lead into through the final end. We saw in the other game the men's game,
Alberta A versus Nova Scotia.
There was a three-way tie.
Mm-hmm.
Now those guys, Alberta is playing again.
So that would mean that Nova Scotia won.
Yeah. So now they got the game on is going to be the game on rink 3, which we will cover. It's the second half tiebreaker for the men's triples.
That's right.
was a slightly one-sided result to put them through. We'll see what happens with this second half.
Desperately trying to keep Jake off the air, but he just loves it so much he wanted to be back on for at least 2 seconds. We got a quick live update on the tiebreaker between Ontario A and Quebec in the women's triples. Ontario A is up 21-14 over Quebec, and it's the 12th end. And our game here is 20-4 for BCA over Quebec in the men's fours, and that is after the 12th end. I want to thank Sarah Moss for live tweeting those scores out to us. It is difficult for us to see it from the booth here while we're streaming. We'll continue to try to show these as they are going on. We will get some rotations on and rotations off as the men's triples second tiebreaker will be played right now.
Pretty sure it's a three-way tie for bronze, in which case BC is bronze. Looks different to play whoever else was tiebreaking.
Okay, what we're going to do now we're going to change our viewing over to the men's triples game that's just about to start up on our closest rink. That will be Alberta A
Ontario A
versus Ontario A. We'll start with a fresh game for everybody to watch.
trial it to just coming to a close, and sure the bell will ring if it rings at all as soon as they're ready, and they'll be into it. Alberta A, Keith Johnson, John McDonald, and Roy Reig. Hoping that I didn't murder your name, John. Interested there to note that Keith Johnson playing lead. That Alberta A is the designer and builder and maintainer of the software that brings you the instant the scores, well, not instant updates, but very, very quickly after the close of play, as the umpires check the cards, hand them into the score. He enters the scores directly into the application, and they're there up on the screen. So it's a very, very user-friendly piece of work. It's been developed and smoothed out over the years, and fine piece of work by Keith. But on to Ontario A. The lead, Scott Fisher. Vice is Everett Zoyas, and skipped by Lyle Mix. So I see now that Keith is placing them out, so they must have won the toss, and off they go.
I'll keep the water.
Keith just coming up short with his first bowl. Will be interesting to note that both Roy and Keith are two of a threesome that won gold at the 2015 Canadian Championships were held in Toronto, Ontario. So they definitely have the experience of being here and have but are up against a seasoned team from Ontario. I know all three of these players, and they're very, very capable bowlers. So it should make for an interesting tiebreak.
So this is half of a triples game, and so it'll be 16 ends in a full game. So this they'll be playing 8 ends.
That is correct. Both of these teams, one will be out of contention, and the other one will stamp their ticket into the bronze medal match. So this is a critical game for both teams as far as wins and losses. There's no second chance after this. Keith's looking to better on the head. An excellent pull here, drawing up a tight one. Now, just interesting to note that the Ontario has sort of switched around their lineup a little bit. Earlier on, Scott Fisher was leading in the makeup that we see right now. Everett is leading for them, and Scott Fisher, who is the gentleman behind on your screen, has taken up the vice position. So they've had a little shake-up of how they're actually bowling. But an excellent bowl there from Everett to draw up shot. Excellent shot there from John. Scott Fisher just flying by. We have the best back ball, really close to the ditch. John has found his weight. Or I just wanted him to play up to the purple. Probably a little less weight than he asked, but you can't complain about the shot that he made. Scotty playing an attacking shot,
and
trailing the jack and sitting on it.
Right past his own toucher, and he's sitting in the ditch. Yeah. No, his back ball, it was not the touch, his touch is in the ditch.
Do you want to try to adjust it a little bit to see the ditch? Jake is hanging around a little bit, so we just asked him to adjust the camera a little bit so we can see into the ditch. Because you'll see the camera shaking a bit, but you can see Scott Fisher has one in the ditch right next to the jack and one that he drew up earlier right to the ditch. And now Scott's trying to see where it is, getting a better angle. Thank you to Jake Shuknick for adjusting the camera, and now we can see everything. Now Scott's holding three.
Third ball, and with him he brought a purple lead ball, so they're actually laying 4. Closest opposition ball is just maybe a foot, maybe less short of the tee line. So,
yeah,
challenge for Alberta.
Yeah, Roy's got his work cut out for him, trying to get in there and cut Ontario down. It's going to be extremely, extremely difficult to get one closer than the one that's actually in the ditch. The greens are pretty keen, and there is, it looks like a little bit of a drop off when you get to the ditch, so holding it on without falling in can be difficult.
Yeah, we've seen before that it's well nigh impossible to stop a ball right on the plinth there, on the board. Anything that comes to rest anywhere close to that vicinity falls in.
So quite an end shaping up. Looked like Alberta had made some excellent shots to start off, and with a nice conversion shot from Scott Fisher, Ontario now sits 3.
It's a rather nicely paced ball. It's certainly going to maybe he's cut out the 4th shot. I think he has. There's still those 3 balls, 1 in the ditch and 2 within a foot and a half. Looking very threatening from the mat, I'm sure.
Scotty's asking which side he likes, because there's an Alberta ball on each side, which can be a threat to push in. It's which one can you see from the mat the best to play. So he has played the backhand for Lyle is a left-hander. And he has snuck right through, but just paced into the ditch. That was a good attempt. I want to make sure you're here. Jake is doing an excellent job for us. He's holding an umbrella so we can get a little shade and see the screens a little bit easier.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Jake. We can now actually see the screen, which is something that those of you watching the stream can see. It's very bright sun and a blue sky, and hard to see the detail.
Well, Roy with a bowl to try to push some stuff through. Fortunately, he pushed it just a little too aggressively through, and it fell into the ditch. So nothing has changed.
Wildcat in, possibly just trying to put something in the
Yep.
in the gap there, just make it more confusing and a little more treacherous through the middle.
What Alberta is actually looking at in their shot previously was they have a toucher that John threw when he nudged the jack earlier, and I think they're trying to push that directly into the ditch to see if they can actually sit on top of it, which isn't a bad call in the situation, but he's down to his last bowl, so might be easier than actually drawing the ditch is probably what they're thinking. Yeah, unfortunately crashed on another short bowl. Lyle's got one more to come. Scotty's calling him down to take a look.
Take a good look and see what he's faced with.
Yeah, be careful. Holding 3. It's a short game.
Yeah. Scotty's pointing out that there's only one thing that Lyle must not do, and that is race up the Alberta ball, which is about maybe 4 feet from the ditch, and over there. So I think he's just pointing out the hazard.
Yeah.
Lyle probably is a very experienced wily player. He probably knew that. It's always good to be just reminded of which shot is which.
Yeah, never hurts to take a look. Because the last thing you want to do is walk up and say, "Oh, I didn't know that was there," when you make a mistake.
But
No, he was safe there. He was well wide.
just a gentle shot.
I think they'll be happy with the 3.
I think they'll take 3 and move on. Well, the umpire is being asked to just take a measure from the
On the 2 side bowls, possibly.
yes.
It's interesting from our angle. It's harder to see, but I guess the angle from the jack might make that
It
come
may
to
be
play.
more deceptive than we thought, but quite honestly, I'm not so sure that. So now they've.
I think they measured the wrong one. They were saying,
Yes.
please measure to the, I guess, the purplish one. That was the wrong purplish one. Because I was going to say, that looks a lot farther out than even from our angle.
Yes, and now they're measuring Alberta's closest, just to see the ball some distance away. To the left side, and giving it a good look, coming back. And it's it was
Yeah.
more. good call and good eye there by the vice. If in any doubt, measure is a very good rule. And if it's in the ditch, even if there isn't doubt, sometimes it's a good idea to measure, because measure out of the ditch, from the jack in the ditch to the ball, is very deceptive.
So, quite an exciting first end. We'll see what the second end brings us.
It's interesting, Darryl. I think this, unlike the previous game we saw where it was 1-1, this taking 4 in the first end is really going to open up, and Alberta's going to have to take some risks, and Ontario's going to have to make sure they're not successful, so their agendas are clear. Let's see how it works out.
Oh, that's right. There's not many ends for you to catch up if you do fall behind, so that 4-ender can be a huge boost for Ontario in this short tiebreaker.
Well, a solid start there from Everett.
We're playing a shorter jack, which you can see just on the edge of your screen when we switch.
And an even stronger reply there from Keith.
It's hard to tell who's currently holding shot, but I'm sure it'll change. Taking a good look at this. It's coming right on top of the Alberta Bowl. Keith's looking to better his own.
Comes up just a little
short. You can just see the edge of it on your screen. Yeah, if you can just nudge it a bit. I got it. Good guy Jake is going to go over and try to adjust that other camera so we can see a little bit more of the head.
Yeah.
He's always working, thinking of others.
He's a very dedicated guy. He gets an afternoon off, and he's back here running up and jumping up and down ladders, and doing his best to keep the stream interesting and entertaining for you. He's really become the chief techie.
That's right.
The streaming wizard. I think we started off this, I think it was at the singles in Edmonton, and it was quite a complicated mess of stuff, and lots of cables everywhere. Now we're down to some very miniaturized equipment, and quality has not suffered at all.
Oh, that's right. While Jake is adjusting this camera so we can see more, and you can actually see hopefully most of the rink. We got some live scores to update you on. 21-13 for Ontario A over Quebec in the women's triples tiebreaker in the 14th end. So a few more ends to play there. And 23-4 for BCA over Quebec in the men's fours in the 15th end as well.
While Dow was talking, there was some developments there in the head, and I don't know if the shot is Jake still, I think, just trying to refine it a bit, but the last shot from Ontario dislodged the ball, which is now resting on the jack, and the previous ball from John McDonald from Alberta landed up inches behind the jack, so we got things pretty tight head here and pretty evenly spread options.
Mm-hmm. Scott Fisher playing a little weight into the head.
And he
has dislodged it.
And leaves the jack. Roy signals 1 to Alberta, which must be the ball directly behind.
Yeah, I believe the two in front are Ontario's.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at this angle. It's you can see the people on the mat and the head. So
another good ball there from Alberta. John, he just raised up another Alberta ball, so Roy signals they lay 2. And this may be the slightly more aggressive, urgent play that Alberta needs to overcome the Ontario's early lead. We'll see
Absolutely.
how that goes on time. Jake's still trying to find an angle that and the breadth of vision that gives you a good impression of what's going on in here. That there are a lot of balls in the line and a lot of players standing in the line, so rather hard to see what's happening.
yeah, Roy taking a good look at this. He doesn't want to push any of Ontario's balls up. We may just either throw a mixer or try to draw one around to the back. Yeah, just getting around to the back in case something does sneak through and chip that jack out. We got, well, probably just going to try to push through the front. Just sliding through the head. Oh, what a shot. Lyle has flopped his own in for shot.
I think Roy's only or best, somewhat risky option here is to try and play just a small amount of weight on his backhand and push up his own front ball, or the ball that's just short of the jack, and but he must be thinking there's not much behind, and there is some stuff in the way, so it's not an easy shot, but I think he has no option. He's got to score. He needs points. He needs to make an impression.
Yeah, he's playing with a little weight.
It's coming up here, and it's definite, and he may have done it. Didn't see any reaction from the
one for Ontario.
one from Ontario. Yes.
There we have 5-0 for Ontario after 3 ends. Or this is the third end, I should say. Yeah, for those of you who are wondering where Jake is or why Jake isn't commentating, he has the afternoon off. So, but he is around, and he has been adjusting our cameras, and we'll be sure to let him know that you miss him.
I know earlier on he had to go into looking for somebody to either repair or replace his cell phone, which suffered an unfortunate circumstance. I think it just stopped working. I don't think he dropped it in the sink or anything, but I haven't had time to ask him whether he got it successfully reset or whether it's a new phone for Jake.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. He's been a couple days without a phone.
So that soap opera continues, and we'll try and bring you an update. Does Jake get a new phone? Well, he's back now. We may ask him the question, but right now, setting up on the mat is Keith Johnson to deliver. First balls came a little long.
My lovely wife Erica from home just texted me and saying, "Where is Jake?" Because she has said Jake is her favorite person at BCB. And considering I'm at BCB, what does that say about me? I don't know. Drew up shot, but still 2, maybe 3 feet through the head. And I was just looking for Scott to draw one close. It's pretty wide open. Trying to catch that jack on the way through. Unfortunately, it just slides right through. Scott Fisher just needs to add a few more feet and have a nice bowl right on the jack.
A little aggressive there, I think.
Yeah, best
probably
back.
Not what he intended, best back ball, but well, maybe it's good to get your protection in early. But, I think both skips would really like to see something within 2 feet. It's John, it looks like he might have. No, it's John.
Tried to make his adjustment, but just coming up a little short on that. Scott wants to come up and take a look at the head.
See what he's looking at, see what he's playing. See.
Yeah, he was 2.5 feet short on his first, well through on the second, so needs to make his adjustment on his third. He just wants to draw one in tight. He got into the cluster of Alberta bowls, so that's not a terrible shot, but probably a little more aggressive than he was intended. John's just drawn up shot.
And that is shot.
Very nicely
Shot
weighted
time.
bowl. And as we're talking, you can probably see in the top of your screen that the second round of the women's fours tiebreakers has begun. Alberta and Nova Scotia playing. That game will decide who's the final entry into the bronze medal match for the ladies fours. The Ontario team talking things through, probably discussing which side to come down. I don't think there's any question that they just want to try to draw one in close here. Just which side is best. With a really nice bowl there, just about a foot and a half through. Rory's probably just trying to make this a 2 and not a 1. Get another one in the head. Rory's well through the head. Just getting into that cluster of back bowls. Probably about 4 feet through. With really good weight on that bowl, just getting narrow and on the outside of the shot bowl.
It's interesting. Ron just changed his hand to come in, I think, to play off the Ontario ball and drop in for a second shot, but it just, as Lyles did, it just slid wide, and it's now a back ball. Lyle changes hands and he comes down the forehand side. Good looking ball here. Just hard to see from here, but by the reaction from Scotty, it looks like it's probably shot. And Roy follows him down.
Crashing on the
Gets
very
a
front
rub.
ball.
Had a nice weight, but probably 6 or 9 inches wide, narrow of where he wanted it to be.
One for Ontario.
Yeah.
Six to nothing. Ontario over Alberta. Getting into N4. Probably just leave it at this angle. You can see the balls coming down pretty much from the mat. Everett with a good opening ball.
It's not super short, but it is, you know, a shortest jack. Probably a good tactic on Ontario's behalf to keep some pressure on Alberta. But that's a great reply from Keith.
Yeah, excellent
Puts the
opening ball for Keith.
Yeah.
Trying to get whatever shade we can back here. Keith throwing up another really great ball.
Yeah, it's
Back resting toucher, it looks like.
looks like it,
Everett looks like he's got really good weight.
and springs the jack out the back. And it's a new game.
Yeah, good result for Ontario. Let's see if Keith can drop another good one. He had 2 exceptional ones to start off this. Just a little further and a little wider. And good response. a good old Ontario draw there.
Yeah.
Hit something on the way and sit for shot. John just getting a little wide, obviously ending up right on the boundary. So finished with an exceptional draw on the opposite side, trying to stay away from the boundary, I guess. Possibly saw that John didn't come right back in. John.
Just a little heavy, certainly back ball. Scotty moving things around, but still in a great position.
Scotty's shaking his head. He didn't want to play that much through and move things around, but you can't complain with the results. He's got 2 back bowls and 1 really close. John doesn't like it too much. Got narrow.
Yeah.
His weight was excellent. Scotty's waving it over. Get in front, get in front. If you're going to be short. Scott Fisher indicating that Ontario is still holding 1, but I guess Roy's cut them down to 1. Lyle's going to be looking to nestle another one in, if not get in front. Short again. Alright, looking to catch Scott's front bowl there. Just getting by and catching one of the back ones. Miles hopefully just going to up his weight a little bit.
Creep in.
I'm assuming all those are blockers then. He played all 3 at the exact same weight. The guards are extremely hard to play.
Again, it just rubbed by, but didn't achieve the result he was looking for. Scotty signals 1.
And he's happy with that.
It's 1 point, but more important, it's an end used.
That's right. I'm okay. That should be okay.
The muffled comment you heard there is Daryl is holding an umbrella sunshade with one hand and typing in the new scores with another hand, and with his third hand he's doing something else.
Yeah, we're doing all right. 7-0 for Ontario. This is N5. It's been all Ontario so far. They've been sneaking some good ends, especially that first end, which set them off on a 4-0 run, and now they're more than happy to just take ones from now on, just to ride it out. It's a very, very short game, so it makes it very difficult to catch up. Evan throwing very, very deep from his jack throw. As a lead or a singles player, one of the things that you really want to think about is getting practice throwing jacks and your first bowl. If you can match your first bowl to the jack, it really, really pays dividends in order to gain control of the end, take the pressure off of you for your next bowl or a couple bowls, and really start moving the pressure onto the opposition, knowing that you have a close one right off your first bowl. Well, I guess the guys aren't too keen on the short end.
Looks like Keith's taking a little pace off this time, and yeah, his still rolls through, but he's it's a little bit narrow.
Everett making a better adjustment there, getting a closer one in his back.
Maybe shot, may not be. From this angle it's hard to tell, but it doesn't really matter to Ontario, just to be close. Spread it around.
Not quite. Scott Fisher trying to tighten this noose a little bit tighter. Keep control of this game.
And he does just that.
It's a dandy shot.
Didn't quite stay with it. Still an Alberta pull, fairly close, but looks to me like Ontario won. Nice looking attempt here from John. And,
yeah,
yes,
nice
he
ball.
slips it inside and plays shot.
Scott Fisher with a trail and sits for shot. The look on Roy's face says it all. He can't believe he's trailed it twice on him.
Very close, but almost a very good reply from John, but no result.
David Matthew coming by. He's giving me a hard time for holding an umbrella. Looks like another excellent bowl from Scott Fisher. Just slipping behind, splitting those two Alberta bowls.
Very good bowler, Scott. First came across Scotty in Sarasota. He winters down there, and I used to travel down. My wife had family in the area, and I played in the Southeast Open a few times, and met Scotty there. He's very involved. He was, I don't know if he still is, but was very involved in the club. Draw master and organizer for tournaments and events. Never stand still, always active, always joking.
Yeah. Just full of energy. Loves to talk on the greens, chat about things, wants to know information if you can give it to him. He's definitely a staple around tournaments in Ontario. I meet up with him everywhere. So he's bowling a long time, and he's an active bowler, very active bowler. This is his first time winning a gold medal in Ontario and making it to the Canadians, so I know he was very, very pleased when he got his Ontario shirt and jacket, and I'm sure he's even more pleased with how well this team has done coming here and playing very well to get into the bronze medal match.
That is absolutely a useful ball. It's in the, if Roy can't make contact with the jack, which he may do from the lineup that I can see, the jack's not going to go very far unless it's an all-out drive, and he's got a receiver just where he needs it.
It sounds, from what we can hear from the green, Roy's looking to change some things up, because he says he's got to make it a little easier to make a conversion shot at the end. It doesn't necessarily have to be this shot right here, but he wants to change things around so it looks a little different. So right now it's a really good position for all of Ontario's bowls. Yeah, so he's firing at it.
Women's game is 2-2.
I just got an update that the ladies' fours game, Alberta and Nova Scotia, is currently 2-2.
That's the ever-active Jake Shukanek coming round with the score.
That's right.
Thank you, Jake. As the president of Let's Let This and Go First, is, I think Lyle's got a important defensive choice to make here, and see what he can do to just seal up his. Yes, and
that's an excellent
very
ball.
Nice. Now it lays two, and he's changed the angles. Should Roy choose to
I think Roy's gonna
play weight,
look to kill it,
yeah,
if possible.
Is his best option now, I think. And he takes the jack and stays with it. He's in the ditch.
For one shot.
One shot. Yeah. As I was saying before, and as Lyle considers this in marking them up, just a word of real appreciation for all of the staff. As president, I've come to know and see Anna, Jake, Daryl, and Sarah in action, and they certainly work long, and they certainly work hard, and they work smart. So we're very fortunate to have a dedicated staff. So thank you to Bowls Canada staff. A lot of challenges and a lot of successes.
Just asking for the count right now, just making sure that, because it's hard to see from down there. And I know I can probably speak on behalf of Bowls Canada, and we appreciate the comments. I know all the staff work very hard on trying to bring the best event that they can, as well as streaming and everything else. See what we can do here.
That's right. I think he's. I think certainly if he can add one, whether he can add more, I'm not sure.
Yeah, he really just has to bowl to the tee, really,
Yeah.
to get another shot.
And he's done that. He's.
Probably got a few messages. So Jake, do you have a phone now?
I do. It's back in the hotel charger.
Alright, Jake's got a phone. It's charging up now.
A new phone or an old phone?
Yeah, a new one.
A new phone.
Brand new phone. Fancy guy.
Happy birthday, Jake.
Happy birthday, Jake.
It's not your birthday, but that's probably what you get, right?
So everybody who's been trying to text Jake and thinking that he's ignoring him,
He had this phone excuse for about 3 days now,
yeah,
so
now he's got no excuse.
got no excuse. He's going to have a pile of information sitting waiting to bounce out into his lap when his phone charges up.
So if you have any complaints, make sure you contact Jake, and he'll be happy to use his new phone to answer you.
Long measure here, and
Yeah, I guess Roy's last bowl.
Daryl and I are saying absolutely nothing because we could not see last time and we mispredicted. So we'll,
Yeah. We thought it was 3. It was actually 4.
here we think it's 2, but it might be 1.
Yeah, that's right. Looks like Roy's bowl just wouldn't come back on the edge of the screen, coming down, so the angle may be really, really bad for this measure, but we will see. It's close.
Those tricky long string measures.
Looks like a 2,
And it's
just
2.
barely. Birdie gets on the board. It's now 7-2. Going into N6.
But still possible.
It is. We are saying there is a chance.
Interesting to see if Alberta alters the tactic, but no, it looks like they're sending. Roy's asking for just a medium length, short to medium. And, Keith had an idea of a medium, and so I think that's what we've got.
So, Jake, how's your time off been?
Stellar.
He's been enjoying it?
Oh yeah.
Enjoying bowls? He never gets enough bowls.
Always here. I can tell you the traffic here is really bad on a Friday afternoon.
For those of you thinking of driving around Victoria and in this area, apparently Jake says the traffic is terrible on a Friday afternoon. So.
It took me 40 minutes to get back to the hotel. It's normally a 7-minute drive.
We'll leave it at this angle. You can get a good shot of the head and see the bowls coming down pretty early. And Everett's just sliding past the jack. Almost looked like he had a trail there. He's probably about 2, maybe 3 feet through the head. Or past the jack, I should say. Ever drawing up shot. Keith with an oops. Dropped one really short, probably thinking too much about making the perfect shot around Everett's. That happens from time to time. Don't forget, if you want to reach out to us while you're watching this match, at BCB Bulls on Twitter, BCB Bulls Official on Facebook. Unfortunately, Jake doesn't have his new phone, so you can't get Jake directly, but you can get me at Canadian Buller on Twitter as well. Be happy to talk to you. Unfortunately, David doesn't want to give out his number, so we can't give him that either.
Might attract too much traffic there.
No, that's right. He's a man in demand. He's hiding over here with us.
That's right.
John just looking to draw a nice one in here. Am I telling him he has nice line? He just wants to make it here.
Pretty close.
Yeah, John for shot.
See what Scotty thinks about that.
Oh, that was a puck. Scotty's already talking to it, so I don't think he likes it.
Rubbed off the front ball and
Yeah.
went way over into the next ring. So.
Yeah, with good weight, but coming
Came
a little narrow on that hand.
and, again, it looks like this rink, good though it is, it looks like anything that's a little bit narrow takes off a little to the...
Scott wants to come up and take a look, see what's going on. I just want to take a walk and ask exactly what Lyle wants out of this bowl, or what Scotty thinks he wants out of this bowl. Oh, Scotty's running after it. You can see him coming up your screen.
Yeah. Here it comes. It's around and to the back there. And, yeah, it's a position that he sees the threat, but
Right, coming down the backhand.
not happy.
No, it's not even close to the head.
We'll say no more about that one.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be beer bought tonight.
It's tough playing a week-long bowls competition like this. Heavy competition. You want to make sure you're in the mix. Concentrating all week. Just giving Roy the thumbs up that was an excellent shot. He knows it. He's got it on video just in case he wants to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just coming up a little short. It's giving Lyle more opportunities to try to convert this head. I think the extra weight is just holding it out there.
Yeah.
It's not a bad spot.
Yeah, I think Lyle is actually, the way he played those last couple of shots, I think he's happy to allow one shot. He's absolutely determined that there's going to be no advantage to Roy in moving the jack. And so
Right.
I think Roy is really stuck with nothing but a draw now and hoping to improve to 2 shots.
Roy's looking to add a little weight. His last 2 were short.
Better weight here, but
He's just going to crash.
front,
Yeah.
and the weight looked pretty good. Didn't come around, and now Lyle may well be thinking of pushing in to take the 1 point away.
I think Everett was just calling him in to be a little narrower than his last couple. It's just going to hold out.
Not the same.
Yeah. If you want to play a little bit through the head, you got to tighten your line.
Taking a measure here.
One Alberta. 2 more ends to go. We're now on end 7. There we go. 7-3, 2 ends to play. I was just hoping Everett can coast one in here. I'm sure they're okay with giving up ones. But if they can get a +1, it'll definitely put a stranglehold on this game. Everett about 3 feet short of that head.
Keith throws up jack high, just a little off the jack.
Everett's got the line, just not the weight. Doesn't look like he's gonna reach. Everett's going to come down the opposite hand.
And again,
He's short as well.
Looks like a little short.
There was a touch on the way by. Didn't move it much, but nicked it.
There's another shot drawn.
Very good. Berto looking to cut into this lead. If he can get a big end here, it'll help out quite a bit.
And
Coming up short, so I think Lyle's looking for Scotty to at least be there, if not through the head. Back bowl would be better than anything else in front.
that's a slightly better pace, but I think it's still.
What a great
what
shot.
A beautiful ball. That, just to reach and there beside the jack. But there's still options for Roy. He's got two behind. One to the wing and one just in front. But doesn't need to move the jack much.
Nope. He's got everything behind, so A reaching ball will be a good shot for him. Definitely got the pace on it. It's just holding straight right through the head. Best back on the tee.
Possibly a little heavy.
Yeah.
There's always that tendency to throw a little over. Just a yard on. 3 feet through. But reach the jack and take it out.
Yeah, Lyle just throwing the protection ball. Really well thrown.
Very useful ball.
Right in the middle. Yeah, right, took the weight off. It's going to crash on something in front.
Yeah, tighten down.
Well, you can see if Lyle wants to throw another one to split those two Alberta bowls in the back. You could just do a draw and try to bury it behind your blue, drag it a little bit, throw something in front. I wouldn't be surprised for him just to throw a nice draw in here and try to bury that jack and make it impossible.
So many choices here. It's really intuitive choice as to what you feel is best.
He's going to come up really short, so he's looking to get in the way.
Putting it in the way and get a bit of a...
Just got a quick update. It's currently 6-2 for Nova Scotia over Alberta in the women's fours match going on the far green. No, it end. 6 ends. They're playing the 6th end. Roy's got his last shot coming up. He'd rather not go down another shot. He wants to be in the plus. We'll see if Lyle's front bowl that he just played comes into effect. Got some pace on it.
So.
Scotty looking for a blocker on last bowl. A little confusion there as to who had last shot.
Here's a...
Yeah, he's not going to make it.
Not going to repeat. No. Just throws it into the cluster ahead of the jack.
1 Ontario. Final end coming up. Just a reminder to everybody that tomorrow we will be streaming the medal games. Jake will probably be back in action, so for those of you that have been crying about missing Jake, he'll be back.
All Jake, all day.
All Jake, all day, yeah. But definitely tune into that. That's an exciting action. Who's going to be the Canadian champion in each of the disciplines, men's and ladies. And stay tuned to Bulls Canada social media for times and who's playing and what's actually going on. Great opening ball there from Keith.
People who've been watching here all afternoon will notice that the crowd has thinned out a little from what we had when we started the tiebreaker rounds, but still a good crowd of people here. I see lots of Alberta shirts, lots of Ontario shirts.
That's right.
Nova Scotia. Obviously a keen interest in what's going on for their team colleagues. It's a tense time. Tomorrow's the big day. Scotty just skimmed by the jack, barely brushed it, and rolled it over a little closer to the Alberta ball.
Just looking to get one in there. Doesn't have to be perfect, just wants to mix it up. What a great shot.
What, it displaces two balls and rests himself immediately behind the jack.
I have to say that in this game, Scott Fisher has made some excellent shots to convert for Ontario, which is why they're in the lead. Especially his three that were right next to the ditch in the very first end, which set the pace. Yeah. Lyle's just walking away. Yeah, that's good. definitely choosing to play a guard. I think he's just more concerned with the kill rather than anything in the back.
Kill's always possible, but I think from the alignment of the balls it would be pretty tricky to actually get a path with enough force and hit the jack at the right angle to clean it out.
I want to make sure Jake gets his messages on his phone or on his computer. So.
Well, that's,
I think.
Well, I just wanted to be sure that a few balls have gone from the head, but he wants to be sure that he has got at least one, at least two balls in and around in case.
Yeah, he doesn't want all the Ontario Bulls to leave, and then what are you going to do?
That's right. I think Scotty's calling for a block now.
Yeah. Still got two in the head, two of Scotty's, plus one of Everett's behind, so it's not a bad spot to be in.
Scotty's talking to the ball, asking it to stop, but he's ushering it into a spot he wants, and it's pretty much, he's happy.
Assuming Scotty's just going to want another one in front. Make it more difficult. Gonna fly away like Mary Poppins here with my umbrella.
It's a bigger gust than we've had for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll just play in, trying to coast one in and build a wall.
Dropping it down, dropping it.
Well, never mind. Another one in the head, right in front.
Nice one, yes. Yeah, Keith, Ryan, John just discussing that there is no, as we thought, there is no clear path to the jack for a kill, that it requires at least a combination to move the jack out.
Perfect time for the wind to pick up.
Yes.
Trying to make a critical shot.
The flags are standing out pretty flapping pretty keenly. And
that's
through the
it.
head, that's it. Hands shake, and
I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Bulls Canada stream of 2017 Canadian Championships. We'll be back tomorrow with Jake Shuknik, the man of the hour. David, I want to thank you for joining me for commentary. It was very nice of you, especially for running around and getting scores as well. And we will see you all later.
That's always good. Thank you very much. Good night.